Hello and welcome to this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast featuring our discussion of Netflix's Black Mirror, episode 1 entitled The National Anthem. I'm your host, Foxman, and I'm joined by my beautiful wife and co-host, Bethany. What's going on, Bethany?
Hey!
Hey!
Excited to talk Black Mirror.
Yes, for sure. This is a show that really lends itself to conversation.
Definitely. And every episode is different, which is really, really fun.
Yes.
So if you hate an episode, you only have to talk about it once.
For sure. Okay. And for those of you joining us for the first time, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, or our website, www.boobtubebuddies.com, to get in on the conversation. Anything that you guys send us, any thoughts, theories, whatever it is, we will definitely get them on air. We will shout you out. As you'll see throughout this, we set up interviews with all sorts of people. The Black Mirror subreddit came through in spades for us. We have basically somebody on every single episode interviewing. So
Black Mirror makes me want to sing so many different songs. Like,
what?
Whoa, Black Mirror, bam, lam, whoa, Black Mirror. And then
I was sure you were going to do the "You Can Blame Me."
Oh no! I mean, it makes me want to change real songs. And then I see a Black Mirror, and I want to I'm.
Hey, Black Mirror, how you taste so sweet.
I see a red mirror and I want to paint it black.
Nice. Okay. Real quick, we have 2 special guests this episode on some pre-recorded bits. We have a new feature that's going to be a recurring segment with Michael called Preach or Don't Preach, and an interview with Boob Tube Buddies mega fan, Jables. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention is December sucks for television. So if you're going through and trying to catch up on stuff, we have Westworld, we have Stranger Things, American Horror Story, The Get Down, and a bunch of other stuff. I guess that's really it, right? We don't want to get bogged down in the whole opening,
No,
right?
let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Okay. So first off, this is the first episode, and it is 43 minutes long, which is actually a hair shorter than most of the episodes. For example, the second episode's it's got to be an hour and 10 minutes, I think.
It feels like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not that it was bad, but it felt longer for sure, whereas this one felt a little bit more abridged. So, real quick, before we jump into things, I got a little segment called Summon It Up in a Tweet, which is basically 144 characters or less trying to wrap up the general bit of the show. So here it goes.
Oh yeah, we're summing it up, just to summon it up. Summon it up, oh yeah, we're summing it up. Oh yeah, we're summing it up, just to summon it up. Summon it up and up.
Tweet.
Princess held hostage by avant-garde artist. Demands Prime Minister has sex with pig. PM tries to get around it. PM being Prime Minister. Yeah, okay. Ends up having sex with pig. And that is summing it up with a tweet.
Well, I think that's about it. I mean, I think we can go ahead and we can just stop for tonight.
That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Okay, so let's jump right into the episode now, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so the Prime Minister is awakened by a call in the middle of the night, goes down to the war room or whatever you want to call it, and all his advisors are around, and he watches a ransom video of the princess who's been captured, and they don't want to tell him what the demands are at first. He thinks it's even a joke, but it comes out right away that he has to have sex with a pig on national broadcast.
And he has to do it by 4 p.m. that day.
Yeah, there's all these little stipulations, to make sure that there's no sort of tomfoolery.
And he's like, is this real? Oh, it's real. I would want to know, how do you know this is real?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but when I was watching it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Is this a comedy? Because I didn't read anything about Black Mirror. I just saw that it had good reviews, and I wanted to binge on Netflix on something. Yeah. And I didn't know what to think about that.
A very bizarre start to a series. Yeah. I will say overall, this is not one of my favorite episodes. When I went back and looked at all the episodes that I'd seen, upon watching it the first time, I was like, yeah, this show's pretty interesting. I do like it. But I was also like, what? That is really fucking weird. Not that they're not all weird, but it's particularly deranged.
It's very different than the rest of them, too. The rest of them have a very futuristic-y feel.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't. It feels like it could be taking place right now.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, because they still have social media and, TV networks, propaganda, which are all very common themes throughout Black Mirror. But you're right. This one definitely feels more present.
Let me ask you this.
Oh, God.
Does the Prime Minister not already look like a pig?
Yeah, no.
He has a little pig face.
He does look... I mean, if there was a human being that looked like they'd be a pig fucker, I'd say it's probably this Prime Minister.
Ugh.
And,
but seriously, though, this would never happen.
Why do you say that?
This would never happen.
I mean... Okay, but you could say that about a lot of them.
Nobody would expect him to go through with that. They would watch the video, if they determined it was real, get in front of it, media-wise. It's already been released on Twitter. Everyone's seen it, so they have to acknowledge it. Get out there immediately and say, I don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have sex with a pig.
Yeah.
Or as one of those reporters says, make love.
Make love. Don't get bogged down in the details. Honestly, who would do love him or hate him? I know a lot of people probably are on polar sides of the aisle for this, but Trump would actually probably handle this really well in terms of just like getting out there immediately or tweeting immediately.
Love pugs. I love pigs. I fuck pigs all the time. Right?
I don't think that he'd say I fuck pigs all the time. I think he'd say I'm not fucking a pig and I'm not negotiating with the I'm just saying, like, love him or hate him, like, he has balls and would not be put into this situation.
Not be shoving those balls inside of a pig.
Now, Hillary, that would be a more interesting situation, because how would that even work?
She would look at the polls and say, what can I do to make people love me?
Oh, yeah. Poor Hill Dog. But, okay, so, yes, he is in this situation. And it made me wonder, because there's that story about Prime Minister David Cameron, who apparently...
That was going to be my tidbit.
Oh, I already knew about that. I'm sorry. I knew about that prior to watching this episode. But it made me wonder if some... I mean, I feel like that story came out and this episode of Black Mirror had already aired. Like,
yes.
Okay, it did. It had?
Mm-hmm. This aired in 2011, and then the Cameron, the Prime Minister... That came out into the 2015 that he had supposedly put his penis inside of a dead pig's mouth or something. And they did talk to the guy who made Black Mirror, Booker, and he said he didn't know anything about it. But what's funny is that during the whole scandal with Cameron, one of the hashtags that was being used was snout rage, which is the Twitter
that is
hashtag.
Fucking hilarious. I didn't know that. Okay.
So the whole incident with Michael Cameron
snout rage
is referred to as Piggate. That's how they refer to it. But hashtag snout rage was a super common hashtag that was used based on this episode of Black Mirror.
My throat was a little scratchy before the podcast, and I'm drinking chamomile tea for the first time.
Disgusting.
Whew. It is really sour tasting. Really tart.
Okay. Well.
You don't want to get bogged down in my tea talk?
While they're trying to figure all this out, Alex, the female staff member.
Yes.
Because they're all called something different over there.
Yeah, there's Maester Luwin from Game of Thrones, and they call him Maester.
No.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
The very staunch-looking librarian, terrible...
Yeah.
Alex, she has got a contingency plan that they don't tell the Prime Minister about, where they're going to get Nonsense Bob or Ron, Senseless Ron.
Senseless Rod.
Senseless Rod. Okay, that makes a lot more sense than Nonsense Bob.
Nonsense Bob.
To be a stand-in guy to...
Nonsense Bob. That's pretty good.
Have sex with the pig, and they're going to CGI the Prime Minister's head on.
Yeah, and it bears mentioning that it's already out there. Like, they say that they took it down after 9 minutes and 50,000 people already had it, and now it's being seeded out to new people, so it's going viral.
Mm-hmm. And there was some sort of, they call it something else, but like a gag order for the news channels, but there was no, I mean, they had to report on it. And there's this particularly obnoxious Indian reporter.
Malaika.
Who is very into the story and will do anything to get the most recent updates, including sending tit pics.
Yeah, I hope that this isn't going to get me in trouble, but I have to say that tit pics from Malaika probably wouldn't make me, like, leak out classified secrets like this. Can I just say that? I don't know if that's inappropriate for me to say, but
why?
I mean, like Donald Trump would say, like, I've been with. If there was going to be any woman that I would do that with,
Okay.
It would not be Malika. Trust me.
As I sit here sweating in my old, nasty, dingy sports bra.
You did really strip it down for this episode. It is definitely lucky that this isn't a video cam because you're bearing it all.
No,
right
nobody
now.
wants a picture of this.
To be fair, I'm drenched in sweat because I just came back from basketball. So sweet, disgusting couple. Anyway,
Correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
though. The first time she sends a tit pic.
Okay.
And then is the second pic she sends, is that a what do you call that? Vagina pic?
I was gonna say snatch pic.
Oh, snatch pic. That's better.
Is it? Is it better? It doesn't feel better. It felt dirty saying it out loud.
I don't know. Ravioli pic?
I don't know. How would you know that? How would you be able to tell that it was that? She goes into the stall.
I don't know. That's what I assumed, that she was going to up the ante to get better information.
Oh, okay. Third time she sends one to the beehole.
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest things that I thought sort of wraps up the idea of this episode was the wife.
Yes.
And she demands to talk to the husband as this is all sort of escalating. And you can see it slowly turning, the tides turning from people completely on his side, no, you're not going to have sex with a pig, to, no, we think that he should have sex with a pig.
The first time I watched this, I was like, well, why the fuck is she mad at him? Like, this isn't his fault. Like, what a cold shrew. What the hell? But, and honestly, even the second time, I feel like she still treated him very unfairly. It's not his fault. He certainly didn't want to do this, and she's very cold to him. But I at least have a little more empathy for a woman like that in that position. This is like public shame on a level that she is not, and nobody would ever be prepared for.
I didn't get the feeling so much that she was mad at him. I think that she didn't
By the
like
ending?
that she... Oh, of course.
Yeah, so she's definitely like...
But what I'm talking about is when she goes in there to talk to him and she's very upset at the situation, and he says, no, this isn't going to happen, but she basically says, whether you do it or not, everyone is already imagining you do it, regardless.
It's happened. They're all laughing at us.
We love humiliation, and I think that just speaks to the power of social media. It doesn't even have to happen, and boom, it's in your face. And it's, I think that was a good illustration. Yeah. It was a poignant moment where she's in his arms and saying, don't you get it? It's already happened.
That's what the show is amazing at, is they'll take concepts, whether it's a concept that you've seen played out a million different times in ways, or to something that's like completely unique, and they'll give you all sorts of like small fallout moments, like things you wouldn't think of, like people, like the collateral damage of different things happening, and she is the perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm. I do think she was whiny, though, and I was thinking this, do you understand what kind of stress he's under? You coming in and worried about what people are saying about him on Twitter? Like, come on. Yeah. So I do understand that aspect.
Definitely. Well, how would you react if I was put in that situation?
And I thought about that, and my first reaction...
Realistic, and like really try to...
I know, and
because it's so easy to say, oh, who fucking,
and I really have been. My first gut reaction was, I think I would be more understanding than her.
Okay.
And I think that I would really, really try to. At least from the beginning, I would want to. I need to see you and be like, so you're not gonna actually have sex with a pig, right? Like that's not happening. And as it was happening, I think mostly I would be angry that I was left out of the loop. Like he just completely stops taking her calls, doesn't involve her in it. And I know it has nothing to do with her, but they are married, and it's sort of like he chose to be prime minister versus his dignity and relationship, sort of. I mean...
No, versus somebody's life.
I don't know. I think we would stay together. I just don't know about the sex thing. I would have to go to a therapist, because I can see myself maybe trying to lighten up the mood and like make some snorting squeals. Sounds. Yeah. No, I don't know. It's so hard. It's
very hard to transpose yourself into these situations.
Out of it. I wouldn't want to watch it.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely could not. Or maybe you would. I always said that I wouldn't watch childbirth, and I've had a front row seat to both of our children being born. And that's fun.
A little bit different than, like, you having sex with a pig, I think.
No. It's, like, pretty similar.
Nice.
Oh, man, I'm never going to hear the end of that. Okay, moving on. So,
You're like, if I can get over that, you can get over my pig fucking.
yeah. A big part of the episode is honestly seeing, like, the public opinion switching. Now, we have a member of his cabinet or whatever it is who is basically like who's his advisor, who's kind of feeding him back information about what the public is saying, what public opinion is, how things are swinging. And for a while, obviously, things are going good, and people say that they wouldn't care if he didn't do it.
But they were not happy about that trick he tried to pull with Nonsense Bob.
Yeah.
And Prime Minister didn't know about that, and he was pissed at Alex about that.
Yes. So that was the first thing.
Oh, and they get the finger.
Yeah, that was the first thing that happens is Nonsense Bob goes into the studio. Somebody snaps that picture of him, which...
He's like, let's do this, yeah.
Shame on those Secret Service guys or whoever that is for allowing somebody to snap a picture of him and not confiscating that phone. That was, like, level 10 out of 10 stupid. That to me was irritating. It would have been better if somebody had snapped a picture that wasn't, like, right in his face.
I agree. Well, you know that shit wouldn't fly in America.
Definitely no. That guy would be tackled and probably, like, taken into custody. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
And he should have been, I think, in this situation. Mm-hmm. You know, like, for national security. And then they could hold him until the princess was returned, so overnight or whatever it would be. Mm-hmm. That bugged me a little bit, because that was the first one where it's like, that is just such an obvious slip up. Or maybe that's us watching from the outside, maybe especially having watched it a second time.
A lot of this is so far-fetched, and I think that's just one more thing to sort of illustrate the point of wanting to be the first one to put something out there regardless of the implications or consequences.
Yeah.
So, this would get me so many likes if I put this picture. You know what I mean?
And so he basically, before this, people were of the opinion that no, you know, if he doesn't do it, like, I wouldn't do it either, whatever. But it switches to 86% basically say that he has to do it now. So it's, like, completely changed. And I mean, I felt really bad for him at this point, because that was totally Alex. Like, he had nothing to do with it.
Which is why I did not care when he strangled her and called her a dumb bitch.
Damn, he did go, like, completely red pill on her.
And you can't blame him.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Well, violence against anyone is not okay.
No.
We had it coming.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is a great note, actually, for us to throw over to the interview, which is our first little segment here. You got your hands up like you got something you have to say.
Just
Go for
one
it.
thing.
Go for it, man. Yeah, you deserve
How
it.
could they possibly mistake a grown man's hairy pinky finger for one of the princess's delicate ring fingers? That just wouldn't happen.
Maybe the artist... No, the artist did not look like he was a dainty sort of man at all. He looked
I
like
thought
a
that
man's
was
man.
stupid.
Huh, I really didn't think about that. That actually is kind of a little bit of a plot hole.
And then later they're like, the test came back and it's male. It's like, oh, really? It's male? You couldn't tell by the...
Well, I mean, and of course, yeah, you could shave off the... But I'm looking at my hands, and I mean, I have relatively effeminate hands, and nobody is mistaking one of these fingers for a woman's finger. Especially not a dainty little princess.
Right.
Okay, now, that is actually a really good point, though, so that was worth interrupting for. So rudely. We're going to throw over to our interview now with a member of the... BlackMirror subreddit, I believe. I totally forget which one I'm throwing
to. It was Jables.
Oh yeah, it is. Sweet. Okay. Well,
this is our new format. It's
hashtag
got some kinks to work out.
Production value.
Right.
Okay, so we're throwing to the interview. It'll be followed up by an original Audible ad, and then we'll be back. So we'll see you in a minute, little buddies.
Player 3 has entered the game.
All right, Foxman here, and I am joined by Boob Tube Buddies mega fan, and honestly, probably my longest running friend in the world,
Nice.
Jables. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so this is your first time coming on the show. Are you super excited, super nervous?
A little nervous. Super excited about the choice that you had me do. For
Yeah.
our first,
What do you think about the dog that started barking next door the
It's pretty
moment?
hilarious.
All right, let's keep it as the show goes on. Fucking goddamn asshole. All right, so anyway, we're here to talk about Black Mirror, the National Anthem. You had wanted to come on and either do a podcast or a bit or something for a while now. I thought this was a good opportunity. Actually, you don't even know the reason why I reached out to you for this one.
I know the reason why.
You do? Why?
Yeah. My infatuation for bestiality, I
Oh
assume.
my god. Okay, so I guess, should we talk about the cow story real quick? Do you even remember the cow story?
Of course, so that's all I thought about through the episode.
Okay.
I was so nervous about them actually showing it.
Did you vomit?
Yes.
Okay, so for whatever reason, we were teenagers
Yeah,
and
that's
we
the
were
reason.
with our other friends, and I have no idea who was surfing through porn, but somebody found something.
Is that a
Okay, a very staged looking sort of thing where somebody's would be having sex with a cow or a horse or something like that, and it was really weird cuts too. Like it would be like and then lightning outside, like super bizarre,
Super
and
close up
we
of-
called Jables over to watch it, and instantly he turns around and vomits, just throws up from watching it.
The memory still haunts me to this day.
That's
to be
actually
honest.
not why you got asked on
Really?
for this episode. What did you think about the episode?
Not what I expected.
Okay. The reason why you were brought on was because I reached out to, on Reddit, there's this subreddit, so a group for Black Mirror, and I had put this out there for them, like I want to interview fans of the show, see what you guys think, message me or comment with the episode that you want to do. And I mean, they filled up quick, like there are episodes, third season, second season, the second episode of the first season, and they're all filling up real quickly. And at the end of it, there was one episode that did not get selected.
So that's the one that I...
So I called in the pig fucker.
Awesome. The pig fucker. Nice. That
Yes.
sticks.
So anyway, this is actually a good opportunity for me to talk to somebody who has never seen another episode, knows nothing else about the show. What do you think about it after this episode? Like, what did you think watching it?
I mean, I'm definitely intrigued to see other episodes because, I mean, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but I definitely wasn't expecting that. I actually didn't even know if it was a comedy or a drama at first, and with the opening scene, I still didn't really know.
It was actually, it would confuse that notion more.
It's true, like... And the really thing that threw me off is the thick accents. I had a hard time. When they first said, I think it was Susanna or whatever, the princess, I rewound it 4 or 5 times to hear what the hell they were saying. And finally I tried to move past it. I was like, I'm sure I'll pick it up later.
No closed captioning for this guy.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely intriguing, and I definitely want to watch more.
Okay, very good. You have to watch the second episode. I think is tremendous. I'm gonna want to have you watch more. And honestly, like I said, I filled in other episodes, but I mean, I'm basically talking to strangers on the internet here. So the odds of like 15 people basically actually following through. I've already interviewed a couple. It's going well, but somebody at some point is going to back out, and we could get you on for another. Definitely for other shows, but okay. So I want to ask you just a couple of questions. Okay.
Okay.
Faced with this situation, do you end up having sex with the pig? And honestly, put yourself in that situation. By the end of the episode, what do you do?
Well, if I was, what's his name, Caro or something like that, if I was the prime minister,
Okay.
I mean, really, if you think about it, after seeing his wife and everything, is it really that much of a huge step down?
Oh my god!
I mean, I don't know.
She's a bit of a cold shrew.
Yes, and nothing to look at. So really,
Nothing to look at.
I mean,
Jesus
the pig,
Christ.
it's maybe a little curvier, but really, but anyway.
You sound like Trump right now talking about Rosie O'Donnell.
Funny you mention that
God.
because as I was watching, I was like, okay, what struck me as most odd throughout the entire thing, I mean, of course, the pig fucking thing was very odd.
Pig fart, yeah, weird.
But really, really strange is how intent and how long everybody in England watched this guy fuck this pig.
Yeah.
Like, I thought at first, they're just showing all these different scenes, and it's all at the same time. They're like, oh my God. And I'm waiting for them to turn away. Some of them turn away a little bit, but then they go right back. And then somebody mentions it being an hour.
Yeah.
And everybody, like the 90-year-old guy, is still
hour.
staring at the thing for an hour watching this guy have sex with a pig.
Yeah, I think I'd have had my fill after 5 minutes.
I couldn't do the cow for 2 seconds.
I couldn't do the cow for 2 seconds.
Can you imagine me watching that? I watched it with like one eye open because I was afraid they were going to show it and I was going to throw up on my bed.
You'd be in the bar there with everybody else. They're all cheering in the beginning, and then they all get disgusted. You turn to the side and
Everywhere.
just throw up. You're like a South Park character or something.
I was queasy throughout just in anticipation of it.
That is really funny.
But if it was me, and I was in the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, up until they started talking about how they couldn't guarantee his safety and his family's safety. I mean, at that point, your hands are tied. I got a son. I'm not gonna let them hurt my son because I'm not gonna have sex with a pig. And the girls I've dated, so really, me, it's not.
Dude,
it's not super far out of my realm. Okay, strike that part.
Yeah, no, that's not being edited out, and I'm making you share this on Facebook. No. He was just kidding, gals.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then. Speaking of that, and I mean, you knew that no matter what show or episode that we ended up covering, that I'd ask this question some way, somehow. But would you be able to get it up for the pig?
See, I definitely don't think so, especially with some guy in there with a camera.
You saw him take the pill, though, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing. I was wondering what was in there, because when he started fading out, I figured it was probably a concoction of a Viagra and
maybe ecstasy or
something to
like
make
that
him
too.
Out of it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
but I
God.
definitely, without any kind of help, there's no way I could get up for the pig.
Definitely
A
not.
well-lit room.
Oh, God, a guy with the handy cam sitting there recording you, knowing that billions of people are out there watching you lift up this little tail. And don't throw up. I don't want
It's a good-looking pig, to be honest, though. Like, of all the
It was
pigs...
so cute. It was so
His
goddamn
nipples,
cute.
right? Too much?
I'm not.
Okay. Strike that as well?
No, nothing's getting stricken. You keep
Shit.
saying strike that. That's not happening. Literally everything that's been said now is going to be off there. But anyway, that's basically it. That I really appreciate you coming on. This was super fun. What did you think? Like, you've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah, I like it. I wish it was longer. I hate that you're cutting me off so soon.
Yeah, this is basically me. Like, you've talked about nipples enough now. Like, me sticking out the long
I feel like
cane,
the hook.
pulling
I'm
you
getting
up.
pulled off stage. They start playing that music in the Oscars.
Yeah, it's just getting louder and louder.
man.
But anyway, we will definitely want to have you back on again. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
My pleasure, buddy.
All right, Jables, everyone.
Player 3 has left the game.
Oh yeah. Get your free month trial to Audible at www.audibletrial.com/Boob Tube Buddies. Why the funky beat, you ask? I wanted to download the book Making Music Your Business, a guide for young musicians, but first, I wanted to see if I had what it took to make music.
English, motherfucker!
I guess some of us just don't got it. I'll stick to podcasting and never do anything like this again. Seriously, swear to God I won't. If you go to www.audibletrial.com/BoobTubeBuddies, it's a free month for you and money in our pockets. Over 180,000 titles to choose from, like Making Music Your Business, a guide for young musicians. Drop the beat, little buddies.
Okay, and we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Jables and the Audible ad. Let's not hesitate. Let's just get right back into it and kind of wrap up where we were in the episode, which is we hadn't talked about the SWAT team thing yet, which I thought that it was crazy, but I guess not totally unbelievable. Like Malika being there on site when it happened. Yeah, she got the little bit of
Titbit.
Yeah, I was just waiting. I could see your eyes light up like you found the pun of a lifetime.
gotta say it.
Oh God, gotta squeeze this one out. Okay, so anyway, she ends up getting shot. It's kind of like a dummy situation.
Why would they tell her to run from the SWAT team?
That was really stupid. They should have just said, get down, like, you know, like lay down, put your hand, whatever it is, like do not.
Even the first time I watched it, I'm like, what? Why would she run?
That would not be my initial reaction at all. My initial reaction would be to get down, and put my hands behind my head.
Absolutely. I didn't care though, because I hate her character.
Me too. What a douche.
I wish she'd gotten one right between the eyes.
Jesus Christ. All right. That was unnecessarily harsh.
I'm not even gonna like try and make a joke.
Yeah.
Just staring coldly at you.
0 to 100 real quick. So after this, we have the prime minister just like melting down in his office, and Alex is like, you have to do this. Like, whatever has led us up to here, it doesn't matter. If you don't do it, not only will you be a failed politician, you'll be a despised public figure. We actually might not be able to, because this is another part that I thought factored in. Yes.
I think this is a threat.
We can't really, like, you know, something about the party. And he's like, fuck the party. And she's like, we wouldn't be able to guarantee your safety or your family's safety.
It's bullshit.
I mean, bullshit. Or maybe not. I mean, people out there, I'm just saying.
The queen is like sending guys out to kill him.
No, but just saying, like, I mean, people, like, mob mentality is a very real thing.
I mean, that's what this episode is about.
Absolutely it is. Honestly, that's what so many of the Black Mirror episodes are about, is mob mentality. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he gets in the motorcade, he's heading there. Whole world is watching. We get shots from bars. We have the shots that we keep getting from like the hospital, you know, just people watching, and everybody's kind of jovial, laughing, having a drink. We see shots of London, I'm assuming it is, and it's just completely bare. Nobody is out and about. Everybody is glued to a television. The whole world is watching this. He walks into the building and he takes a pill.
Yeah, why would he take a Viagra?
Is that what it was?
I'm assuming so, but doesn't. I mean, because I would imagine it would be hard to get a boner for the pig.
Good pun. Boing, boing.
But a Viagra, I would think, makes it harder to come. Right?
Does it?
Yeah, it makes you last longer. Haven't you ever heard those jokes about women like, oh, don't let him have a Viagra, he'll go forever and you'll be stuck having sex, or men who don't need it take it so they can last longer?
Is that really true?
Yeah.
I thought you just had a boner for longer. I didn't know that it would make it harder to come.
I think it does.
Okay.
I don't know, that sounds awful.
I don't know, because I assumed it was a Viagra, and I thought, I would definitely need one. There's no way I could sit there behind that gigantic hog and get it up. In front of, knowing that the whole world is watching. There's not even a chance. I mean, if it was a beautiful woman and the whole world was watching, I would sit there like shriveled little tater tot and like nothing would be happening.
Isn't it so funny? The pig is so cute and you hear like slopping sounds.
Yeah.
And it's eating and some really cute little snorts and its little curly tail.
The thought went through my head, and tell me what you think about this, that what he should have really had there should have been like a fluffer of some sort. Like I'm sure his wife wouldn't have loved that. She would have definitely needed to have been cued into the conversation. Obviously, she's not gonna come down and fillet him, you know, and the whole world knows that she's there doing it. But
that's her duty as first lady, to fillet the prime minister
before he has sex with the pig.
The country calls for it. Yeah.
Oh, any situation. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I just think that, I mean, come on, cut the guy some slack. He's about to have to rear end a fucking hog. I mean,
there's so many like things going through my head. The more you say, having to like have sex with this huge hog, like.
Yeah, get Rod. What's his name? What do you call him? Rod Nobody.
Bob Senseless.
Get Bob Senseless's co-star in here. So like Pam Senseless or something like that, and have her, you know.
I still think if you are that scared and that I don't know how a man's body works, but I still think it would be hard to get a boner with somebody filleting you. Is it filleting? Is that a word?
I don't know. I just said it. I don't know why you glommed onto it.
Because I'm like, I've never heard that verb before.
Glommed onto it like so many pigs' anuses. So the...
And there's the Barbie porn in the background.
What?
On the big screen.
It was Barbie porn?
It was like 2 naked Barbies having sex.
I, honest to God, didn't even see that. I heard them say the thing about the, in your eye line, there's going to be something to help stimulate you or something. There was 2 Barbies?
I think they were blow-up dolls. They were Barbies, just like the Barbie that was found in the building when the SWAT team stormed.
Okay.
It's 2 Barbies.
Why are you calling them Barbies? Are they called Barbies?
Because they're the Barbie dolls.
They're blow-up dolls.
They were blow-up dolls?
The one that they found in the warehouse.
That was a
thing,
Barbie.
That was a blow-up doll. A Barbie is small. What sort of life-size... What are you thinking?
We've got to rethink Christmas presents for Lila then.
Okay. All right. I don't know if that was all an elaborate setup.
No, I really thought they were Barbies. I've watched the episode 3 times now. I feel like I'm going to have to go back.
That is weird. But, okay, like, he gives this quick little speech, and it's really heartfelt. Everybody's still cheersing and laughing. He sticks it in. Everybody's, oh, gross. And as it's going on and he's sobbing, everybody watching... Everybody uniformly just gets like really somber. Like they realize like, oh, this is like the reality of this is not funny or jovial. This is a man being brought lower than low for no reason. I mean, he hasn't done anything. This isn't some guy that like had been like they're showing that he'd been accused of like perpetrating war crimes or, you know, something like that. It just, this is a prime minister who was just a prime minister, and we had... And everybody, he just brought low. And so... it
was so hard to watch.
It was awful. It was actually done really well in terms of, like, making you feel like, oh, fuck, this is awful.
Even when he's walking up to the pig, all these things you don't think that you would ever have to think about, like, how do I get it in there? Do I lift the tail? And did you notice the little tail, like, moved?
Twitching around?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the princess is wandering around drugged across the bridge. She collapses. We see shots of what ends up being the artist with his hand tucked in a smock. He hangs himself. And then we find out later that this was just sort of basically like his fancy little thing that he was doing.
First great artwork of the 20th century.
Yeah. Ugh.
Does he hang himself because he's disgusted with humanity? That nobody was there to even see her cross the bridge because they were all so glued to the screens, and he gave people a chance.
I assumed that he was just a huge pussy and didn't want to go to jail.
Oh, that's not what I thought.
That's what I thought. But anyway, that's it. The prime minister vomits in the bathroom afterwards. We find out that the princess had actually been released 30 minutes before the broadcast began. And
he had sex for over an hour.
Yeah. So that didn't need to happen at all. And that's honestly like one of those things that really digs the fucking knife in afterwards, knowing that he could have gone without doing this and saved himself the most horrific experience. Now, it does show, actually, hold on, we'll talk about the aftermath in a minute. Real quick, like we'd said, we do have another segment. It's called Preach or Don't Preach with Mike. I'm going to throw to it real quick. And essentially, he's just kind of talking about the implications and the meaning behind the episode. So I'm going to throw it over to him real quick, and we'll be right back.
Preacher don't preach.
And now, here's Mike.
Hello and welcome to Preacher Don't Preach. I'm your host for this little segment. My name's Mike. And basically what it is it's just a little like op-ed piece we're plugging in here, and I'm gonna kind of look at each episode, either, you know, try and answer one of its ethical questions, one of its moral questions, maybe look at it thematically, and just kind of poke around in there and see if I can't get a response from you guys. Don't worry about that little snafu, no worries, right? So let's go ahead and jump right in. And we're gonna start with Season 1, Episode 1, the National Anthem. The reason this show jumps out at me right away, and it stands out in the series as a whole, is that it's one of the few shows where technology doesn't play a role. It's more of a modern day telling, so you're going to see some stuff, but nothing you won't recognize, you know, tablets, GoPro cams, that kind of thing, but nothing revolutionary like you find in the rest of the episodes. And I think that helps identify what the show is actually about. And I also think that this particular show is kind of a microcosm of what the series is about. and we see evidence of this in the gathering crowds, right? So as this video of the Prime Minister of England getting ready to have intercourse with a pig gets closer and closer to becoming a reality, these crowds start gathering in pubs, in the streets, at work. Everybody's getting in front of their television or their device, their own personal Black Mirror, if you will, to watch this spectacle. And I think what the show is trying to say is that, despite knowing in our hearts that maybe watching this is not the right thing, we often can't look away. We tend to succumb to our own lesser natures, and it's not an idea that's new. I mean, it's human nature. We've been doing it for thousands of years. If you look back and you think about the Colosseum at Rome, where thousands gathered to watch these horrible acts of brutality, where slaves and wild animals were just butchered for their own entertainment. I mean, it's the same thought process. Think of the French Revolution. Crowds of hundreds and thousands gathered around basically to see people be, have their heads chopped off, be guillotined, and they were entertained by it. They cheered and they roared for it. It's not something new. And I mean, even personally, I remember growing up, we had the Faces of Death videos that were super popular when I was a kid, and I watched them. And Rotten.com used to be a big thing when I was younger. I heard this just the other day somewhere, as it reminded me of it. And I think my most acute memory of it is the Daniel Pearl video in the wake of 9/11, and this was the journalist who was abducted in Pakistan and then videotaped being beheaded. And I remember watching that, and just for me, that was the watershed mark. Like that was the video that kind of spurned me the rest of my life not to want to watch that type of thing anymore. That doesn't mean I don't watch stuff on my devices that is less than highbrow. I certainly do. I'm not trying to put myself on the high ground here, but it's interesting. Like this is going to be a recurring theme in the show that. We have this entire world. We have these devices that give us access to the entire world, the entire history of the world. We could use them for anything we wanted to. I mean, we could make the world a better place. We could educate ourselves. We could, look at beautiful things or whatever the case may be. I mean, but what do we do with them? I mean, we look at adult content. I mean, that makes up the vast majority of what we look at online. Porno, and even aside from that, what nowadays what's so popular, stupid animal videos like cat videos, grumpy cat videos, or we go online and we use these things to look up our favorite celebrities to see what they're up to. It's so inane what we choose to do with these devices, and that'll be one of the things that the show examines. As you watch the shows, throughout all 3 seasons, go ahead and pay attention to it, because it's not the technology that's the evil here in these shows. It's what we bring to the technology. It's how we use it to fill these and satisfy these base desires, and it's that allows the tech to be seen as evil. So just moving forward, let's keep that in mind. We can build off that same idea as each episode goes by. So that's it for now. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't be afraid to give us some feedback, even if it's negative. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I love open discussions. You know how to reach us. And that's it for this week, little buddies. And remember, a show that's not worth evaluating is a show that's not worth watching. All right, peace.
Preacher don't preach.
Okay, and we're back. Thank you very much, Mike, for that segment. We're going to have that as a recurring thing, so you guys will be able to hear that, about a 5-minute bit probably for each episode. But the aftermath here during the credits is what we end up seeing. It's a year later. The princess is doing fine. We see the prime minister. He's happy. He's out,
His
doing
wife's there.
public opinion. Yeah, and everything looks good. He's laughing it up with the kids and stuff like that, which is, I mean, his this kind of sucked. His public opinion of him was up 3%. That's it? 3% for fucking a pig to save the princess's life?
I think after you fuck the pig, you resign. Because nobody respects you after that. Anywhere you go, it's like, what's the first thing you think about? Picturing him having sex with a pig.
But you saw
what
people's reactions to it. He would have so much sympathy. I think 3% really sucks. I mean, like, you think of the stuff that, like, Mario does to get Princess Peach. he definitely never had sex with a Goomba to do it. And so the thoughts that, like, we all love Mario, but everybody's like, I'm like 3% more into the Prime Minister. That really, like, that hurt. And they were saying it like it was a good thing. That hurt my spirit.
I think it would be really hard for me to like him after that. And it's not his fault at all.
No, I would like him. I would think, like, that was really big of him to have done that. I would feel so sorry for him.
Yeah, I would have sympathy for him. I wouldn't have much respect for him anymore.
So what? You'd want him to be impeached or resign?
I'd want him to
I am not a pig fucker.
I think that I would resign and say that it's time for me to take care of my family. I fucked a pig. Everyone saw me do it. I need a little break. How can I possibly run a country after that? What's he supposed to do? Like, dust off his jacket? Like, all right, let's get back to it. No,
yeah.
I mean, you just had sex with a pig. And everybody saw it. You can't ever eat pork again. What, ham at a holiday dinner? You think nobody's going to say anything about that? The family barbecue every summer?
What I was imagining afterwards is, you remember the scene from The Office where Michael kisses Oscar and then looks at everybody and he's like, there, I did it. I was wishing that he'd done something like that. It turns to the camera kind of sheepishly.
I'm sure there was some anger, I'm sure that he would want to say, are you happy, everyone?
Yeah, but instead he goes in vomiting into the bathroom, snot pouring down his face.
Well, that's the other thing, too.
The way the actor did a very good job in that part. I felt like, oh man, that is a broken man. Good acting performance.
A broken man who I think wouldn't like my country anymore. That it would get that bad that my country would make a mockery of me. The public opinion is what made him have to do that, And I wouldn't care about these people I'm supposed to care about anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying, but honestly, I don't think politicians really care that much about people for the most part anyway. I'm not even saying that as like, well, maybe it's cynical, but I truly believe that most of them
I think this shows this a little bit. Yeah. I think he felt he had to do it. But anyway, the end of the episode, you think everything looks good, and for me, I was like, oh, wow, And then they get back into their home.
She doesn't speak with them.
Yeah.
She goes upstairs. And clearly this is like an ongoing issue, or else they wouldn't have shown it like that. And so it looked like it was going to end on a high note. Nope. Ends on like a little bit of a question mark. But anyway, that's the episode. Overall, where does this one sit amongst like the pantheon of Black Mirror episodes for you?
It's hard to tell, and I give you terrible answers every time you ask me straightforward questions like this. When I saw the episode, I thought it was supposed to be political satire, and then as the seasons went on, no, it's more sci-fi. It's not supposed to be. It's just so different than the other ones.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's one of my favorites. I know a lot of people don't love the first one.
Yeah, it's actually one of my least favorites.
I think most people feel that way about it. It just was so different, and so I didn't enjoy it, but it was like, oh my god, it was after that episode that I told you that you should watch it, although it's weird to tell someone you might like this, or you might hate this and be disgusted with me.
Yeah. Actually, Jables messaged me after he'd watched it, because he actually hadn't watched the show before. Like, he'd been wanting to come on the podcast for a while, and this was just the first opportunity. And actually kind of funny, as a little aside, when I reached out to the Black Mirror subreddit, I filled in every episode but this one. So I would say definitely this is not people's favorite, because there were like many episodes like San Junipero where like that was people's first one but nobody messaged about this one. And
it's distinctly different than the others. It's not futuristic.
Yeah. Well, Jables messaged me afterwards, and he's like, so you specifically reached out to me to come on to do, like, what did you just have me watch? Like, you saw Pig Fucker and you thought Jables?
That's what I mean. That's like telling someone to watch a show and then they watch it. Really?
Yeah.
Like, you thought of me?
But I will say, because the first episode I watched too, I loved the show immediately. Like, I knew I was going to want to watch more episodes. So here I am saying it's one of my least favorites, but I really, really like it. Whereas the one that is distinctly my least favorite, the Waldo one,
oh yeah,
I do like markedly less than the other ones.
I agree. I that is my least favorite one.
Yeah, but okay, let's go ahead and just put a
One
bow.
more thing I will just say is that the moral of this, sorry, and Michael might cover this in his segment, but the moral of this story I felt was a little bit less in your face than some of the other episodes. It was a little more overt than
Yeah, I
covert.
guess that's true.
Yes, and the moral would be what? That the dangers of hive mindset and social media takes no prisoners. Is that the moral?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I think it's important to state the moral because each episode has a moral, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I've never been good with morals and like when you have like Aesop's fables and
Right,
you're supposed
Aesop's
to,
fables.
I just like stories, man. I don't like
Well, if you're not going to learn, what's the purpose of it?
I feel like I'm a learned man. I feel like I'm sculpted by these things. I just don't have to. That's what Preacher Don't Preach is for.
It's true.
You know?
I'll leave that to him.
Okay. But anyway, thank you guys very much for listening. Again, you can check us out on any social media platform. It's Boob Tube Buddies. We're going to be doing the entire series, and it's going to be coming out relatively quickly. Like within the next month, we'll probably be able to knock them all out. I hope somewhere along those lines. But that's about it. And I guess do you have anything else, Bethany, before we go?
No, I'm going to wait for you to start to say tie a bow on this bitch, and I'm going to interrupt you again.
All right, tie a bow on this bitch, Bethany.
See you next time, little buddies.